Insert disc 2.
So, Aaron, you've brought several talking points to the table this week.
Yes, Bode, I sure have. No, what I want to talk about, just because we haven't talked about it, is the, and I'm sure you've seen this, we talked earlier, the old Walmart, the local Walmart, all the Walmarts all the country have started selling these gimmicks, and they're little, tiny arcade machine replicas. They've got one for Asteroids. They got one for Street Fighter. I think there's even a trackball one as well. And they're about two-fifths the size or 3/5 the size of a proper arcade machine. Pretty small. Have you seen these things? And what do you think about them?
Well, it's a neat idea. It's like many ideas. It's cool in theory, less cool in actuality. So they sell these as bringing the arcade experience home.
And I think they're $300 or $400.
Yeah.
And they come with everything. They got the games, they got the screen in there, everything.
So what they've done is they've taken one of the, I think that there's probably 4 to 6 games included in each one of these machines. They've reproduced the artwork of one of them, and then on the kick plate area, they've put the marquee art from all of the games that are on there.
They look good,
I
think. And they've got the side art, they've got the marquee, the whole 9 yards.
So where this concept starts to fall apart is that they decided to make these 3/4 the size of
I don't think they're that big. That's why I said 3/5.
3/5, okay. 3/5 the size of a normal arcade machine. And that means, that you can no longer play this standing up. And to me, one of the cool things about playing arcade machines is that you're playing them standing up. It's like you're in the arcade, except you're at your house.
Yeah.
I can sit down and sit in my recliner and be super comfortable and play MAME.
Yeah.
So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is these things. Now, this is anecdotal based on what I've read as far as the specifications, but the weight of these machines is only like 75 pounds.
They're not super heavy.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, what makes an arcade game heavy? Tons of wood, big heavy-ass monitor, and a control panel and stuff. So they adds up.
Right. Yeah. Now, I don't know about you, but I tend to play my arcade games in a rather aggressive manner.
Chad's like that too. A lot of body angling.
Yeah. And so I have a feeling that if I was playing Frogger on one of these things and I did a quick juke to the left, that whole system would just collapse in on itself.
I don't think is Frogger one of the titles? I don't remember that one. I understand what you're saying. The size of these is unusual. They are too big to be bar tops and too small to be a full-size arcade machine. Now, they do sell a spacer that these things can basically sit on top of to make them taller, as tall as close to it as an arcade machine. But they're also less wide. For some of the games, it probably doesn't matter. But for a game like, say, one of the titles is the Street Fighter series. I think it's got Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Street Fighter Turbo, and one other. I think there's 3 Street Fighter games. But you've got 2 6-button sticks there, and they're almost unplayable in 2-player mode unless you're a couple kids. I can't figure out if these are marketed to kids because the little kids wouldn't know what these games were.
Yeah, and it would not be attractive to them.
So it would. I mean, they're cool looking. Like for example, I could get one for mine, which would be stupid for me to do. I got full-size games, but if I got one for Luke, he's the right size. If you have little kids that are into old games. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess that is that's a good reason to buy one. If you've got somebody that's still pretty short and is into the retro scene, or if you just want sort of a conversation piece, you set it up in your games room, you leave it on a track mode or whatever, it looks neat over there.
It's an expensive conversation piece.
I'll tell you that.
And again, it's the size of, and I guess the 1-player stuff wouldn't be too bad, but the size of it, height-wise, and the spacers, I don't think I don't think they necessarily match the cabinet you've got. So the side art ends where the spacers begin. So that's going to look kind of funky. I thought it was. We're in a weird area now where these. We're getting a lot of these mini offshoots, and we're getting this kind of weird stuff here. There's a lot of weird arcade stuff going on.
I think that the arcade people are finally starting to realize that there is value in their old products. And they see that these things you go on Amazon and you look at the Pandora stuff, And it's like Amazon doesn't care about copyright infringement. Like, they'll sell those things all day
Absolutely,
long.
you're right.
And so people are looking at that. They're seeing those sales figures and they say, we need to do something to get something out there so we're making some bucks. And I don't think that this is, like I said, I don't think it's a bad idea. I wish that if they would have made it $100 more expensive and made it full size, $500, and you get a full-size arcade machine with 6 games in it, I don't think that's a bad deal. You can still buy, arcade machines. These are, of course, only single-game only units, but you're probably going to pay $500-$600 for most machines these days.
It's gotten stupidly.
Yeah,
I mean, you can still get a deal.
Yeah, it's definitely not pinball prices, but it's more than it was.
And if you look around, like example, and I called Brent last week when I saw this pop up. There's a fellow in Buffalo selling one of Brent's all-time favorite games is San Francisco Rush the Rock. Remember the green Atari racing game?
Yeah.
There's a guy in Buffalo selling one right now, a full-size set-down unit for $350.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you've got the space for that and the bucks, which that's a cheap price, that's a heck of a bargain. There's still bargains to be had.
Racing games are always, especially cockpit racing games, they're always going to be let go for a song because they're so unwieldy.
Well, that's the lowest I've ever seen one go, and I think he just wants to get rid of it for space. But if you look around, you could get real games that no one cares about, cheap. But you've got to know where to look. You've got to be willing to go get them. Mm-hmm. This game, I've seen these taken apart. The little cabinets. Mm-hmm. They're very simple inside. There's not a whole lot. The monitors are obviously not full size arcade monitors. They're just LCD televisions basically. So there would be less to worry about in terms of, and the control panels apparently are pretty decent. Unlike, remember that a couple of years ago they released these arcade machines that were almost cardboard. I remember.
They were very poorly made. They were full size machines though. They were crap.
I believe they were Williams collection stuff. Mm-hmm. And also, if you've ever looked into, I think there was a company called, I can't remember, they were Zizzle or Zazzle, and they made pinball games that were they were kind of, I don't know, 3/5 size pinball machines that would be themed to I think the Avengers had one and stuff like that. But I always thought they might make decent pin names. Mm-hmm. But they were made of wood, I think, or plastic, and they were about the same. There's always been reproduction pinball machines around. But you're right, talking about the Pandora, which is Pandora is it's a board you put in an arcade machine, and it basically effectively gives you a MAME setup, and they go for a different price depending on how many games come with it, and you can get maybe 3,000 games.
Or you can just basically get this box that's got that's got 2 sticks, 6 buttons on each side with an HDMI cord out, and you're ready to go.
Right, and you're right, they just look the other way on this stuff. Listen, I mean, these companies are going to try to make a buck, and more power to them. And I'm guessing these will sell to somebody. And if they ever come down to, if I see them on cutout somewhere, I might pick one
and that's the thing. First of all, that you use the phrase "on cutout somewhere" jovializes my heart. I love that. But
does no one say cutout anymore?
No, because that refers to a practice that's no longer done. But anyway, if they slash the prices on these things to $150. You might see them lying in the walls of Amigo Studios.
What, just gonna get you a bunch of them?
Yeah, just get the whole collection.
Your wife's not super tall, so she can be in.
Yeah.
Did she ever play the one you got back there?
Man, she plays Galaga. I say it the right way. Galaga all the time.
Either way, I'm cool. I'm cool. Does she really?
She loves it. She loves Galaga.
That's a good choice. We talked about speaking of arcade games while we're on the subject. A couple weeks ago, I brought up the possibility of doing some sort of video showcase on the top X amount of games, and I've been thinking about this because you sort of hassled me over it. You sort of
not just me. Everybody on the Discord was like, "Man, we don't want to do a crowdsourced crap list."
I was trying to get something going with a bunch of people.
You know what happens whenever you do that?
It works every time. It has never failed. Christmas memories. That was the best thing I ever did. Whenever we spin the wheel, it always worked with crowd choice. We always are the most highly watched ARGs. People they want to pick the stuff, then they don't watch it every time. So anyway, I've come up with a new cunning plan. I'm gonna run this past.
Okay.
I'm gonna put down a top 20 or whatever of my games, maybe a couple parts even. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave it open to some listeners that can send me a list in. And then I can go through and see who agreed with me on certain numbers or certain games and maybe mention other people's lists so I can still get my crowd fix in without having to let them dictate the pace. What do you think of that?
I love it. I love it. I, too, am also going to be doing a video of my top 20 arcade titles.
Listen, we don't want to see 20 renditions of Mr. Do on this thing.
It is. Hey, I've got one other game that's not a Mr. Do game on there.
Oh, yeah?
It's 19 Mr. Do games.
And then one other game?
And one other game.
I couldn't even guess what it was. Is it Double Dragon 2?
It's I'm Sorry.
I'm sorry. Oh, God. Get it out.
So,
I like that. Good. You should do one, too.
Yeah.
And whichever one has the most views, they win.
That's right.
And the other person has to admit on the air that their top 20 is garbage.
Then it's a retirement match. You're off the show.
What, that's it? Who's going to come in after one of us is gone? I'm not doing Brett twice in a week. I can't do it.
So do you have anything else you'd like to talk about on this Insert Disc 2?
I will mention, just because it was another video that was so popular, was off the charts, was our Insert Disc 2 last week on Moonville Tunnel.
Yeah.
No one watched this video, so I'm going to bring it up again. So I went to the Moonville Tunnel Festival. By the way, I was wrong. It wasn't the Moon Tunnel Festival. It was the Moonville. There was a city or a town out in the middle of nowhere called Moonville, all right? So we went to this thing last week. You go an hour outside of Point Pleasant, you make a right at the tree, and then you just start feeling around in the woods. I mean, I've never been this far in the middle of nowhere, and I'm from West Virginia.
I was going to say, that's saying something.
We were in the woods, dude, and we get to this festival. What a great festival this was. I'm going to give it props, man. The Moonville Tunnel was an old rail tunnel. It's in the middle of the woods. There's no tracks to it anymore, and you just can walk through it. But around this thing, they've built up a very nice little home-cooked festival. Moonville was a city or a town that was out there. It's gone too. It was a rail town, and they had great local performer, guitar, acoustic performers. The harmonica was like Bob Dylan was out there. They had all these local merchants, and I mean the artisans and whatnot. Mm-hmm. They were doing stuff. They had, and this is what I love about this sort of thing, Bo, because they don't do this at Mothman anymore. They had psychics out there. They had tarot card readers out there. They were selling Ouija boards. These people were embracing this crap full bore.
That's awesome.
They weren't trying to be like, oh, we don't want any card readers. Card read me up.
Yeah.
Teresa got a reading. She loved it. We took a horse-drawn carriage tour to a cemetery that was a haunted cemetery nearby. It was very lovely. Mm-hmm. And they had nice food. It was ran perfectly. The people there were brilliant. They knew exactly how to set stuff up.
So maybe maybe you should make this the new Mothman.
Well, Mothman's still great too, and getting to this place was tough. Man, it was tough.
It's a shame you didn't take any video.
I did. I took a full video, and we're gonna post it up at some point. I got to get it done. But I took a full video of me going all the way to the entire festival.
I thought you were going to say all the way through the tunnel from the beginning to the end.
Yes, no, that's true. I did.
How long is the tunnel?
It's not that long. Maybe a quarter mile. Maybe not even that long. And they had ghost hunters in the tunnel that were just selling some stuff, and they had some videos and stuff. They were having a ghost hunt in the tunnel, which I can't imagine it being that much because it's not that much of a tunnel.
Did you see that guy, Carpet Hugger?
Carpet hunt? No, the carpetbagger.
Carpet
hugger.
I don't know.
That's not even a thing. At least carpetbagger is an actual thing.
What is it? Is that like a illegitimate salesman?
Look it up. I'm not going to get down that road. But carpet hugger's nothing. But no, he wasn't there. But this was fun. I had a good time and enjoyed it. So we've hit, in the past month, I've hit the Moonville Tunnel Festival. I've hit Fright in the Park. We've hit Shaka Khan. We've hit Mothman.
Next up.
And we've hit, I know I'm forgetting one. I can't remember the other one we went to. Oh, Fall Festival. We did that. So that's 5 for 5. Now, we were going to go to Winfield for the ghost hunt this weekend. It's booked up. I couldn't get us in.
Wow.
So we're going to have to do something else.
Fallsburg for your Plex.
No.
Going back.
We're not going back to Fallsburg. I'm putting my foot down on that.